I do have a number in mind, so for the non-fluffy people in the world, I would give you all some educational course here. To do all the fun stuff in life, you got to be under 250.
There was a time when Jelly Roll was immediately identifiable. Tattooed face, large build, raspy voice, and the kind of presence that bellowed unapologetically real. Fans knew him as the man who plastered his pain across his forehead, taking every difficult moment and turning it into a song that struck squarely in the heart. But then it changed. One day he was somewhere on stage, on video, at an event, and people were shocked. It was still him, but something was different. The voice remained the same, and the tattoos were all still present. But his energy had changed. He looked different. He felt different. Everyone who had trailed behind him, from the underground rap scene to the country music limelight, sensed it. Was it a physical change? A mental change? His music? Nobody was quite sure how it happened, but one thing was certain. Jelly Roll was no longer the same man. Career beginnings. Jelly Roll, born Jason DeFord, was raised in Nashville, Tennessee's Inch neighborhood. His childhood wasn't the greatest. His father sold meat and operated a bookmaking business, and his mother struggled with mental illness and addiction. At age 14, Jelly Roll had been baptized. But that same year, he was arrested as well. That time began a decade-long cycle of in and out of jail. He was charged with numerous things. In prison, however, he managed to turn the corner, obtaining his GED at age 23. Jelly Roll began his career in hip-hop, taking cues from southern rap icons 36 Mafia and UGK. He started selling mixtapes out of his vehicle and released his debut project, The Plain Schmear Tape, in 2003. From 2004 to 2011, he released The Gamblin' on a White Boy mixtape series. In 2010, he collaborated with Lil White on the song Pop Another Pill, which went viral on YouTube with more than 6 million hits. That success catapulted the group. Years went by and Jelly Roll continued to release mixtapes and albums, working with artists such as Struggle Jennings, Haystack, and Tech. His one tape was initially titled Whiskey Weed and Waffle House, but Waffle House sent a cease and desist letter, so he retitled it Whiskey Weed and Women and marked a cease and desist on the cover just for fun. In November 2021, Jelly Roll performed for the first time at the Grand Ole Opry, and in 2022, Craig Morgan had him return to perform Almost Home. In that same year, he reached his first rock radio #1 with Dead Man Walking. By 2023, his country single, Son of a Sinner, went to #1 and made waves on a number of charts. He also sold out Nashville's Bridgestone Arena that year and picked up several CMT awards. His 9th studio album, Whitset Chapel, was released in June 2023. He continued to ride strong in 2024, taking home CMA's New Artist of the Year award, addressing Congress about the risks of fentanyl, being featured in Eminem's music video, performing on Saturday Night Live, and even having a guest spot on Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone. In 2025, he teamed up with Christian artist Brandon Lake and won a K-Love Award for Hard Fought Hallelujah. He also featured on Shabuzi's hit track Amen. From Where I've Been Isn't Where I'm Going. From rap battles to the Grand Ole Opry, Jelly Roll's journey is proof that second chances are real, and sometimes they lead to the biggest stages in the world, marriage and family. Underneath Jelly Roll's rough exterior and gritty sound is a man who craves love and family. He's been married to Alyssa DeFord, known widely by her social media's handle, Bunny XO, since 2016. The relationship that they share is anything but typical. It's raw, honest, and founded on decades of growth and learning together. When the two first met, both Jelly Roll and Bunny were emerging from tough spots in life. But somehow they found solace and endurance in one another. Their relationship was not one of being perfect. It was one of being there for each other in all things. As the years went by, they weren't merely husband and wife, but actual partners in life. In 2023, 7 years after their marriage, the couple exchanged their wedding vows again, testifying that their love had grown stronger. It was a gorgeous moment that spoke to how far they've come and how dedicated they are to their future together. Jelly Roll consistently speaks about how much Bunny has improved his life. She's been with him for the highs of his career and the lows of his personal life, and she's taken him under her wing to help mold him into the man he is today. Behind the scenes or by his side on red carpets, Bunny has been there encouraging him, supporting him, and keeping him grounded. Family is everything to Jelly Roll, and that's particularly evident when it comes to his children. He has 2 children from past relationships, a daughter who shares a full-time home with him and Bunny, and a son whom he discusses more in private. Jelly Roll and Bunny share full custody of their daughter, and they are raising her together with tons of love, patience, and empathy. Although Jelly Roll does not reveal a lot about his children online, it is clear how much they are loved by him. His path as a father has been difficult, heaven knows, with his previous battles. But he has been honest about how his daughter was a main reason he chose to turn his life around. Becoming a dad gave him another drive and showed him that he had something authentic to fight for. Ultimately, Jelly Roll's home life is never about being famous or trying to be flashy. It's about healing, becoming, and being present for the people who care most about him. Despite the highs and lows, his family has been his grounding rod, and it pays off, finding faith. Jelly Roll's life has been filled with surprises, but perhaps one of the most inspiring aspects of his life has been his comeback to religion. For years, religion was just not on his radar. To the contrary, he felt distant from it. Having endured a rough childhood, addiction, prison time, and numerous personal demons, it is no wonder that his relationship with God had disintegrated. Church to him was more of judgment than love, and he avoided it for a very long time. But then something shifted when he was 39 years old. It wasn't anything he intended. It began with his daughter, who was 14 years old. She approached him and told him she wanted to be baptized. His initial response was complete incredulity. Jelly Roll now says jokingly, "I should go see what kind of cult she's going to," because that's how he perceived religion at that point. Something foreign, perhaps even a little odd. But when he did decide to accompany her to the church, something surprising occurred. Seated there observing his daughter with her friends, he felt neither judged nor uneasy. Rather, he felt something authentic. He claimed he was reminded of what matters: kindness, compassion, forgiveness, and community. It wasn't about rules or being perfect. It was about love and being human. That day initiated a subtle but profound transformation in Jelly Roll. In a 2025 interview, he described it himself best. "I might wear it a little different than other people, but ultimately, I have a heart for God and I have a heart for Jesus." To him, being faithful didn't involve altering himself. It involved reconnecting with something greater than himself. It involved mending old hurts, being more gracious, and being a better man than he aspired to be. What makes Jelly Roll's faith renewal so compelling is that it wasn't a result of pressure. It was a result of love. Seeing his daughter find her faith led him back to something he hadn't even realized he needed. And now faith is yet another key element of his renovation, not only in body or music, but deep within his soul. Speaking out in the U.S. Senate, Jelly Roll has played some of the world's largest stages. But in 2024, he took a different stage, the United States Senate, not to play a concert or accept an award. He was there to testify from his heart, not only as an artist, but as one who had been through the darkest aspects of the opioid epidemic. He testified before the Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs in support of Senator Tim Scott's Fend Off Fentanyl Act. The goal of this bill is to fight back against the growing fentanyl problem in America, a crisis that has taken countless lives and continues to destroy families every day. Jelly Roll knew he had something important to say because he had once been part of that problem. His speech was raw, honest, and emotionally deep. He did not sugarcoat his history. He stood before the lawmakers and stated, "I brought my community down. I hurt people. I was the uneducated man in the kitchen playing chemist with drugs I knew absolutely nothing about." He talked about the errors he made during his youth, mixing drugs, selling substances, and inadvertently jeopardizing lives. He showed that he bore much regret, but perhaps more significantly, he bore a need to assist in rectifying that which he once assisted in destroying. What was so compelling about his testimony was how authentic it was. He wasn't memoizing word from a script or attempting to be polished. He was simply being himself, honest, open, and passionate. He informed the senators that he wished to be part of the solution immediately to assist in stopping fentanyl from killing more lives the way it had killed so many in his area. That day in the Senate indicated how much further Jelly Roll has grown. He's no longer merely a recovered addict or a man with a checkered past. He's evolved into a voice for change, speaking out on behalf of those who are still suffering. Few artists transform their suffering into purpose as he has by getting up before legislators and telling his story. Jelly Roll showed that change is possible and sometimes it can change everything. His past troubles and incarcerations. Well before Jelly Roll was a household name in the music industry, his life was riddled with serious run-ins with the law. Had his first experience with the prison system at the age of 14. That initial arrest marked the beginning of a long and trying period in his life, where he was going back and forth to jail for roughly a decade. Throughout his adolescence and early 20s, he was arrested for multiple crimes, some of which were quite serious, such as armed robbery, burglary, and possession of drugs. In a very intimate interview on the Jay Shetty podcast, Jelly Roll admitted to committing armed robbery at 15, and it's something that continues to trouble him to this day. He explained how impulsive and careless his actions were at the time, stating, "There was no logic to what I did." He even felt the need to apologize one day to his victims, confessing that he never truly comprehended the effect of what he had done until years after the fact. His offenses weren't careless mistakes for a day. He committed drug-related offenses, such as possession with intent to distribute, which got him back to prison several times. During one of his interviews, Jelly Roll candidly confessed that at that time he was having an extremely crazy, narcissistic, and selfish life. He wasn't only damaging himself, he was also doing actual harm to individuals around him and in society. During his years in jail, Jelly Roll was no stranger to lengthy periods of incarceration. His successive offenses saw him behind bars most of his late teens and early 20s. He's spoken about how being in jail almost became normal, something he expected and something he couldn't envision a different way out of at the time. These were the years of violence, instability, and survival. Whether it was combining drugs without realizing the risk or resorting to robberies in desperation and confusion, Jelly Roll's history is full of harsh realities that he does not attempt to conceal. It was a life filled with suffering, crime, and frequent jail time long before fame ever discovered him. Weight criticism and social media bullying. Jelly Roll was hit by a torrent of body shaming that pushed him off social media in 2024. His wife, Bunny XO, revealed how continuous online insults about his weight got too much for him. She shared on her Dumb Blonde podcast and later via TikTok that Jelly Roll got off the internet because he is so tired of being bullied about his effing weight, adding it hurts him. Her raw vulnerability struck a chord. She emphasized that while people might think celebrities should just brush off insults, the truth is no, the F were not. Page 6, The Independent, TMZ, and others verified the report. His sanity was more important than any desire to stay in the public eye on the internet. Page 6 detailed how much it hurt him and how Bunny said he was the sweetest angel baby. The negativity had taken a real toll on him. Also shared on People, he had lost around 70 pounds training for a 5K, but even that was not enough to keep trolls from posting cruel comments. His fitness journey, running 2 to 3 miles most days and applying saunas and cold plunges, was initially a personal challenge, but the nasty comments were quick to overshadow the good strides. Eventually, the pressure led him to step away from Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, and other networks. In April 2024, even Flavor Flav himself and others defended Jelly Roll. A fan on Reddit posted, "One of the absolute nicest men on the planet. The internet can be so cruel." His ordeal was a harsh reminder that however tough or successful a person is, social media bullying can cut deeply into one's psyche. Bunny's message is clear and loud. Everyone deserves kindness, and online bullying should never force anyone to go into hiding. Trademark lawsuit. Back in April 2024, a drama played out when a Pennsylvania wedding band by the name of Jelly Roll, one word, sued Jelly Roll, 2 words. The country singer, born Jason DeFord Ford. The wedding band, founded by Kurt Tichenel, has had the name since the 1980s and actually trademarked it in 2010 and later renewed the trademark in 2019. Their lawsuit, which they brought in federal court in Philadelphia on April 8th, alleged that they had priority over the name and that the pop bubble of the singer Jelly Roll was crowding them out, particularly on Google searches. Before the lawsuit, searching for Jelly Roll would most prominently show the wedding band. Afterward, it showed 18 to 20 references for the singer before any mention of a band. The suit also claimed that the singer's name was confusing to customers in the marketplace. They feared people would hire the wrong Jelly Roll for functions, damaging their business and reputation. Jelly Roll, the group, even cited the singer's criminal background as a factor that had reflected poorly upon them, stating his prior felony conviction and incarceration had resulted in further reputational damage. In the lawsuit, the band requested that a court order restrain Jason DeFord from performing using Jelly Roll or any other similar name. Before going to court, they had sent a February cease and desist letter, but efforts to settle it amicably didn't succeed. But by July 2024, it took a different route. The wedding ring chose to voluntarily drop the lawsuit. They termed it as settled and stated that they were eager to keep on using their name. Although they suggested an amicable agreement, the court documents didn't reveal any official settlement. Jelly Roll's lawyers haven't commented so far. This short but fiery legal battle created buzz about name rights, branding, and how online presence can affect businesses. Even with Jelly Roll's huge popularity, the wedding band remained resolute in defending its name. And ultimately, both parties emerged, still retaining their names. Criticism of his music and image. Jelly Roll has won over a lot of people with his heart-wrenching storytelling and crossover appeal from hip-hop to country. Not everyone, however, is a fan. Critics, particularly on Reddit, frequently claim his popularity is more about emotional connection than musical creativity. On our unpopular opinion, one commenter bluntly stated, "I feel like now he's just releasing music he knows will be a hit because he switched over to country as a genre. It just seems lazy and an easier way to make hits." This opinion exemplifies a wider criticism. Some think he consciously panders both to country and rap audiences with the intent of maximum commercial appeal rather than real creativity. In contrast, on your country music stuff, there are a couple of threads that point to the same issues. One person confessed to enjoying him as an individual, but stated, "Couldn't agree more. Seems like a wonderful fellow. I just cringe at rap country." Another was blunt. "He's a gimmick with a short shelf life. I think he could easily be a one and done." These are criticisms that present him as oversaturated, faulting him for playing his songs too much on the radio and in crossovers. One of them had this to say, "His music is just not good and he has no talent in my opinion." Some users also stated that they felt his songs had recurring topics heavy on personal suffering and redemption, but were not vocally refined nor rich in musicality. One user bluntly said, "The lyrics aren't very deep or complicated, and the music itself isn't creative or unique." Another appended, "All the songs kind of sound alike. Great story, but a little overrated IMO." There are even more scathing opinions on other sites. In All Our Music, one commentator posted, "The real offenders are toads like Jelly Roll, who couldn't be cornier if he tried. He's like a redneck pit bull." Even with those strong words, not everybody feels this way. Some fans enjoy his raw honesty and emotional intensity, even if they don't adore his musical sense.